Hello everyone, and welcome to Healthcare Law and Policy. Today we're starting Module 2, Tort Law, Negligence. In this module, we will explore the fundamental principles of tort law, focusing specifically on negligence, its elements, and its implications within the healthcare sector. Understanding negligence is crucial for healthcare professionals to ensure they uphold the highest standards of care and minimize legal risks. Let's dive in and examine how negligence affects both healthcare providers and patients, and discuss strategies to prevent and address negligent behavior in healthcare settings. Hello, and welcome to our videocast on healthcare law and policy. I'm Dr. Cornejo, and today we're diving into an essential topic that every healthcare professional should understand: tort law and negligence. So, what exactly is a tort? Simply put, a tort is a wrongful act or omission that causes harm to another person, and tort law aims to provide relief to the injured party and deter others from committing similar harms. It's all about ensuring accountability and fairness in our society. One of the most critical aspects of tort law is negligence. But how does negligence differ from malpractice? While both involve a breach of duty leading to harm, negligence is a broader concept that applies to anyone failing to exercise reasonable care, whereas malpractice specifically refers to professionals, like healthcare providers, not meeting the standard of care expected in their field. We'll also explore the difference between the commission and omission of an act. Commission involves actively doing something that causes harm, while omission is about failing to take necessary action, both of which can lead to liability under tort law. To prove a negligence case, there are specific elements that must be established: duty of care, breach of that duty, causation, and actual damages. Each element plays a crucial role in determining whether negligence has occurred. Lastly, we'll discuss the importance of foreseeability in a negligence case. Foreseeability helps establish whether the harm was a predictable result of the action or inaction, which is key to determining liability. By the end of this videocast, you'll have a clear understanding of these fundamental concepts and how they apply to healthcare management. Whether you're a healthcare manager, provider, or simply interested in the legal aspects of healthcare, this session is designed to equip you with the knowledge you need to navigate and uphold ethical and legal standards in your practice. Let's get started. As you can see on the slide, tort law serves four main objectives: preservation, culpability, deterrence, and compensation. Let's break each of these down. 1. Preservation. Tort law aims to preserve peace between individuals by providing a legal framework to resolve disputes. Instead of conflicts escalating into violence, individuals can seek legal remedies to address grievances peacefully and fairly. 2. Culpability. Another key objective is to find fault for wrongdoing. When someone commits a tort law helps identify who is responsible for the harm caused, ensuring that accountability is established and justice is served. 3. Deterrence. Tort law also serves to discourage the wrongdoer or tortfeasor from repeating their wrongful acts. By imposing penalties and consequences, it aims to prevent future harm and promote responsible behavior. 4. Compensation. Lastly, tort law seeks to indemnify injured persons. This means providing financial compensation to those who have suffered harm, helping them recover and restore their well-being. Understanding these objectives is crucial, especially in healthcare management, where ethical and legal standards are paramount. Whether you're navigating patient care issues or managing healthcare facilities, knowing the goals of tort law helps ensure that you uphold justice and integrity in every decision you make. In this slide, we're exploring the three main categories of tort law: negligent torts, intentional torts, and strict liability. Understanding these categories is crucial for anyone involved in healthcare management, as they help ensure that ethical and legal standards are maintained in patient care and organizational practices. 1. Negligent torts. Negligent torts occur when someone fails to exercise the reasonable care expected in a situation, resulting in harm to another person. In healthcare, this could involve a healthcare provider making a mistake due to inattentiveness or lack of proper procedures, leading to patient injury. To prove negligence, 4 elements must be established: duty of care, breach of that duty, causation, and damages. 2. Intentional torts. Intentional torts involve deliberate actions that cause harm to another person. Examples include assault, battery, and defamation. In a healthcare setting, intentional torts might occur if a staff member intentionally harms a patient or spreads false information about a colleague. These actions go beyond mere negligence, showing a clear intent to cause harm. 3. Strict liability. Strict liability applies when a party is held responsible for damages regardless of fault or intent. This is often relevant in cases involving inherently dangerous activities or defective products. In healthcare, strict liability might apply to the use of certain medical devices that cause harm despite following all safety protocols. Understanding these categories helps healthcare managers navigate potential legal challenges, implement effective risk management strategies, and uphold the highest standards of patient care. By recognizing the differences between negligent, intentional torts, and strict liability, you can better protect your organization and ensure a safe, ethical environment for both patients and staff. As you can see on this slide, negligence is a type of tort. But what does that mean exactly? Simply put, negligence involves unintentional actions or failures to act that a reasonable person would or wouldn't do in similar situations. It's about the lack of proper care that results in harm to another individual. For example, in a healthcare setting, negligence might occur if a nurse forgets to administer a prescribed medication to a patient, leading to adverse health effects. This differs from intentional torts, where there's a deliberate act causing harm. More on this topic later. Understanding negligence is crucial for healthcare managers because it helps in identifying potential legal risks and implementing strategies to prevent them. By ensuring that all actions meet the standard of care expected, healthcare organizations can protect both their patients and their reputation. In today's lectures, we'll explore the key elements required to prove a negligence case and discuss real-world examples to illustrate how negligence impacts healthcare management. Let's get started and ensure we uphold the highest standards of care and integrity in our practices. Thank you for watching my videos, and let's dive deeper into the world of tort law and negligence. As highlighted on the slide, the commission of an act involves actively doing something that a reasonably prudent person would or wouldn't do under similar circumstances. In healthcare, this can lead to serious consequences for both patients and providers. Let's look at some critical examples. Administering the wrong medication. Giving a patient a medication they are allergic to or that is not prescribed for their condition. Administering the wrong dosage of a medication. Incorrect dosing can lead to ineffective treatment or harmful side effects. Administering medication to the wrong patient. Mistaken identity in patient records can result in severe health complications. Performing a surgical procedure without patient consent. This violates patient autonomy and legal rights. Performing a surgical procedure on the wrong patient or body part. Such errors can cause unnecessary harm and legal repercussions. Performing the wrong surgical procedure. Incorrect surgeries can lead to prolonged recovery, additional medical issues, and loss of trust. Understanding these commissions is vital for healthcare managers. It underscores the importance of implementing rigorous protocols, continuous training, and effective communication to minimize errors and ensure patient safety. By addressing these issues proactively, healthcare organizations can uphold high standards of care and reduce the risk of legal liabilities. As shown on the slide, omission refers to the failure to perform an action that a reasonably prudent person would under similar circumstances. In healthcare, these omissions can lead to serious consequences for both patients and providers. Let's explore some common examples. Failing to conduct a thorough history and physical examination. Skipping essential assessments can result in misdiagnosis and inappropriate treatments. Failing to assess and reassess a patient's nutritional needs, neglecting nutritional evaluations can lead to malnutrition and hinder patient recovery. Failing to administer medications. Omitting necessary medications can exacerbate a patient's condition and delay healing. Failing to order diagnostic tests. Without appropriate testing, critical health issues may go undetected, compromising patient safety. Failing to follow up on abnormal test results. Ignoring abnormal results can prevent timely interventions, leading to worsened health outcomes. Failing to conduct a timeout prior to surgery. Skipping this safety procedure increases the risk of performing surgery on the wrong site or patient, endangering lives. Understanding these omissions is vital for healthcare managers. It highlights the importance of establishing comprehensive protocols, ensuring continuous training, and fostering a culture of accountability to prevent such lapses. By addressing these potential omissions proactively, healthcare organizations can enhance patient care, reduce legal risks, and maintain high ethical standards. As you can see on the slide, professional negligence involves the carelessness or failure to perform duties by qualified healthcare professionals. This category includes roles such as nurse practitioners, pharmacists, physicians, and physician assistants. These professionals are entrusted with significant responsibilities, and any lapse in their duties can have serious repercussions for patient safety and organizational integrity. Let's consider a concrete example. Imagine a surgeon who conducts a surgical procedure on the wrong body part. This is a clear case of professional negligence. Such an error not only causes physical harm to the patient, but also undermines trust in the healthcare system. It highlights the critical importance of adhering to established protocols and maintaining meticulous attention to detail in all medical procedures. Understanding professional negligence is crucial for healthcare managers. It underscores the need for robust training programs, comprehensive quality control measures, and a culture of accountability to prevent such incidents. By prioritizing these elements, healthcare organizations can protect their patients, uphold their reputations, and minimize legal risks. As illustrated in this slide, criminal negligence involves a reckless disregard for the safety of others and willful indifference to the potential injuries that could result from one's actions. Unlike ordinary negligence, which is unintentional, criminal negligence signifies a higher degree of carelessness, where the individual is aware of the risks but chooses to ignore them, leading to serious harm or even death. Now, let's clarify the distinction between criminal negligence and malpractice. While both involve negligence, Criminal negligence is a criminal offense that can result in prosecution and penalties such as fines or imprisonment. It implies a gross deviation from the standard of care, showing a blatant disregard for human life or safety. On the other hand, malpractice is a civil matter where a professional, like a healthcare provider, fails to perform their duties to the required standard, resulting in harm to a patient. Malpractice typically leads to lawsuits and compensation claims rather than criminal charges. Understanding this distinction is crucial for healthcare managers and professionals to navigate legal responsibilities and uphold the highest standards of care. By recognizing the severity and implications of criminal negligence, we can better protect our patients and maintain ethical integrity within our practices. In here, we're exploring three critical concepts in tort law: malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance. These terms are essential for understanding different types of negligence and ensuring accountability in healthcare settings. As depicted in this slide, let's break down each concept. 1. Malfeasance. This involves the execution of an unlawful or improper act. For example, performing a partial birth abortion when it is prohibited by law constitutes malfeasance. It represents a deliberate wrongdoing that violates legal standards and ethical guidelines. 2. Misfeasance. Misfeasance refers to the improper performance of a lawful act. An example is conducting surgery on the wrong side of a patient's body. While the act itself, surgery, is lawful, the incorrect execution demonstrates negligence and improper performance, leading to harm. 3. Nonfeasance. Nonfeasance is the failure to act when there's a duty to do so. For instance, failing to administer medications as ordered by a treating physician is nonfeasance. This omission can result in significant harm to patients, highlighting the importance of fulfilling professional responsibilities. Understanding these distinctions is crucial for healthcare managers and professionals. It helps in identifying the nature of negligence, implementing appropriate safeguards, and fostering a culture of accountability and ethical practice within healthcare organizations. By recognizing and addressing malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance, we can enhance patient safety and uphold the highest standards of care. Negligence in tort law is categorized into 3 degrees: slight negligence, ordinary negligence, and gross negligence. Understanding these distinctions is crucial for healthcare professionals to maintain high standards of care and mitigate legal risks. 1. Slight negligence. Slight negligence refers to minor deviations from the expected standard of care under specific circumstances. These are typically unintentional and result from simple oversight or momentary inattention. Example: a nurse briefly forgetting to document a patient's vital signs accurately, leading to minor discrepancies in the patient's medical records. 2. Ordinary negligence. Ordinary negligence involves a failure to exercise the care that a reasonably prudent person would under similar circumstances. This level of negligence is more serious than slight negligence and indicates a lack of proper attention or diligence. Example: a physician failing to follow up on abnormal test results, resulting in delayed diagnosis and treatment of a serious condition. This omission shows a clear departure from the standard care expected in the medical profession. 3. Gross negligence. Gross negligence is the most severe form, characterized by an intentional or wanton disregard for the safety and well-being of others. It goes beyond ordinary carelessness, demonstrating a blatant indifference to the consequences of one's actions. Example: a surgeon performing a surgical procedure on the wrong body part despite clear preoperative verification protocols. This act shows a deliberate failure to adhere to established safety measures, endangering the patient's life. Understanding these degrees of negligence helps healthcare professionals recognize the importance of maintaining diligent and ethical practices. By striving to avoid even slight negligence, practitioners can prevent ordinary and gross negligence, thereby ensuring patient safety and upholding the integrity of the healthcare system. We're delving into a fundamental topic in tort law: the elements of negligence. Understanding these elements is crucial for healthcare professionals to ensure they uphold the highest standards of patient care and minimize legal risks. As illustrated on the slide, there are 6 key elements to prove negligence: use due care, standard of care, breach of duty, injury actual damages, proximate cause, causation, and foreseeability. Let's break each one down with a brief example. 1. Use due care. This means acting with the same level of care that a reasonably prudent person would under similar circumstances. For instance, a nurse ensuring all medications are double-checked before administration. Standard of care. This refers to the specific level of care expected from a professional in their field. For example, a physician must follow established medical guidelines when diagnosing a condition. 2. Breach of duty. A breach occurs when a healthcare provider fails to meet the standard of care. An example is a surgeon not sterilizing instruments properly, leading to an infection. 3. Injury actual damages. There must be actual harm or injury resulting from the breach. If a patient contracts an infection due to unsterilized instruments, this constitutes actual damages. 4. Causation. In here we have 2 elements. 1. Proximate cause, causation. The injury must be directly caused by the breach of duty. In our example, the infection is a direct result of the surgeon's failure to sterilize instruments. The second element, foreseeability. It must be foreseeable that the breach could lead to harm. It is foreseeable that failing to sterilize instruments can result in infections. Imagine a nurse fails to administer a prescribed medication to a patient. The nurse did not use due care by forgetting to check the medication schedule, breaching her duty. As a result, the patient's condition worsens, causing actual damages. The nurse's omission directly causes the harm, and it was foreseeable that missing a dose could lead to deterioration of the patient's health. In this slide, we are focusing on 2 crucial elements of negligence: duty to care and standard of care. Let's begin with duty to care. The first step in establishing negligence is proving that a legal relationship exists between the plaintiff and the defendant. Duty to care is a legal obligation to provide care, performance, or observance to protect others' rights. In healthcare, this duty arises from special relationships, such as between a physician and a patient, and can also be established through statutes or contracts. For example, a nurse has a duty to monitor a patient's vital signs diligently to ensure their well-being. Next, we have the standard of care. This refers to the level of care and skill that a reasonably prudent person would provide under similar circumstances. It's influenced by factors like education, training, and the specific situation at hand. Deviating from this standard can constitute negligence if it results in harm. For instance, a pharmacist must accurately dispense medications. Failing to do so could lead to patient harm and legal consequences. Imagine a nurse forgets to document a patient's allergic reactions. This omission breaches the duty to care and falls below the standard of care expected, potentially leading to severe allergic reactions if the patient receives the wrong medication. Understanding duty to care and standard of care is crucial for healthcare professionals. It helps in identifying responsibilities, preventing negligence, and ensuring that patient safety is always a priority. By adhering to these principles, we can uphold ethical standards and protect both our patients and our practices from legal issues. So, what is the reasonably prudent person standard? This concept is fundamental in determining what constitutes negligence in both everyday and professional settings. As illustrated on this slide, the reasonably prudent person describes a non-existent hypothetical individual who represents the community ideal of what would be considered reasonable behavior in a given situation. This standard helps courts assess whether someone's actions were negligent by comparing them to how a typical, sensible person would act under similar circumstances. For example, in a healthcare setting, a nurse is expected to follow established protocols when administering medications. If a nurse forgets to double-check a patient's allergy information, a duty a reasonably prudent person would perform, this oversight could be deemed negligent. Imagine a pharmacist dispensing medication without verifying the dosage, resulting in an adverse reaction. Here, the pharmacist's failure to act as a reasonably prudent person would have by ensuring the correct dosage constitutes negligence. Understanding the reasonably prudent person standard is essential for healthcare professionals. It sets a benchmark for expected behavior, helping you evaluate your actions and make informed decisions that prioritize patient safety and uphold legal and ethical standards. Now let's analyze the concept of similar circumstances in negligence law, a key factor in determining reasonable behavior. Similar circumstances consider various factors present at the time of the injury, including circumstances at the time of injury, the specific situation and environment when the harm occurred, and circumstances of the wrongdoer, attributes like age, physical condition, education, training, licenses held, and mental capacity. For example, a seasoned surgeon with extensive training is held to a higher standard than a less experienced practitioner. Additionally, the wrongdoer's mental state or physical condition at the time can influence what is deemed reasonable. The standard of care is a critical element in negligence cases, outlining the level of responsibility expected from professionals. It can be determined in several ways: legislative enactment or administrative regulation. Standards may be explicitly established through laws or regulations set by legislative bodies or administrative agencies. For example, the FDA sets specific standards for pharmaceutical manufacturing, adopted by the court. Courts may adopt standards derived from existing laws or regulations. If a statute specifies certain healthcare procedures, courts use these as benchmarks for acceptable care. Judicial decision. In the absence of explicit laws, courts establish standards through precedents set by previous cases. These judicial decisions provide guidance on what constitutes reasonable behavior in similar circumstances. Application by judges or juries. When no specific standard exists, trial judges or juries determine the appropriate standard based on the case's facts. They assess what a reasonably prudent person would do in the same situation. Expert witness testimony. Courts frequently rely on experts to define the standard of care required in specialized fields, ensuring informed and accurate assessments. Additionally, the community standard of care reflects what is typical within a local area, while the national standard of care applies uniformly across the country, especially in specialized professions. For instance, a surgeon in a major hospital might be held to a higher national standard compared to one in a rural clinic. Example: if a nurse fails to follow established FDA guidelines for medication administration, this breach of the standard of care guided by legislative regulations, can lead to negligence claims. Understanding these frameworks ensures that healthcare professionals maintain high standards, protecting patient safety and upholding legal and ethical responsibilities. In this slide, I want to emphasize the duty created by statute, a vital concept in negligence law. For a statute-created duty to apply, three key elements must be met. Class of persons. The defendant must belong to the specific group outlined in the statute. Type of injury. The plaintiff must have suffered an injury that the statute was intended to prevent. Causation. The plaintiff must demonstrate that the injury would not have occurred if the defendant had not violated the statute. For example, if a healthcare facility fails to comply with safety regulations designed to prevent infections and a patient contracts an infection as a result, the facility may owe a duty to the patient under the statute. The statutory duty ensures that specific protections are in place to safeguard public health. Understanding statutory duties helps healthcare professionals recognize their legal obligations and maintain compliance, ultimately protecting patient safety and upholding the law. In the next couple slides, I'm unpacking an essential concept in tort law: breach of duty. Breach of duty occurs when there's a failure to conform to or a departure from a required obligation owed to someone. In healthcare, this means not meeting the standard of care expected in your profession. This obligation can involve either performing a specific act or refraining from doing something that could cause harm. For example, if a nurse neglects to monitor a patient's vital signs, they're deviating from the recognized standard of care. Similarly, a physician who fails to respond to their on-call duties compromises patient safety. Another example is an employer who fails to conduct adequate pre-employment checks, such as verifying licensure or performing background checks, potentially putting patients at risk. Breach of duty encompasses any failure to adhere to these obligations, whether by action or inaction, ultimately compromising patient safety and trust. Understanding and preventing breaches is crucial for maintaining high standards in healthcare and protecting both patients and professionals from legal repercussions. In the next couple slides, we're exploring a crucial element of negligence law: injury. In the context of tort law, injury encompasses physical harm, pain, suffering, and loss of income or reputation. It's important to understand that a defendant can be negligent without incurring liability if no injury or actual damages result to the plaintiff. Simply put, without harm or injury, there is no liability. Moreover, the occurrence of an injury alone does not establish negligence, as it might stem from an unavoidable accident, an act of God, or a cause too remote to hold someone responsible. Let's look at some examples. In Lucas versus HCMF Corp., a patient suffered severe ulcers due to the nursing facility's failure to render proper care by not turning her regularly. This clear injury resulted from the facility's negligence, establishing liability. Conversely, in Goodwin versus Cofoy, an internist caused multiple puncture wounds while attempting to start a central line. Although the patient experienced pain, her injuries were managed successfully, and no further damages occurred. The court ruled that without substantial injury, there was no liability even if there was a breach of duty. These cases highlight the necessity of proving actual harm to establish negligence. Understanding this principle is vital for healthcare professionals to ensure they provide the highest standard of care and protect both patients and themselves from legal repercussions. Causation. In this topic, we delve into two pivotal concepts in negligence law: foreseeability and proximate cause. First, let's discuss reasonable anticipation. This refers to the expectation that harm or injury is likely to result from an act or an omission to act. In other words, healthcare professionals must anticipate potential risks associated with their actions or inactions. Next, for negligence to be established, the defendant's departure from the recognized standard of care must directly cause the patient's injury. This means that the breach of duty, failing to meet the expected standard, must be the actual cause of the harm suffered. This brings us to proximate cause, which limits liability to consequences that are closely related to the breach. The injury must be foreseeable, meaning that it was a predictable outcome of the defendant's actions or omissions. The but-for rule is a fundamental principle here. But for the defendant's action, the injury would not have occurred. This rule helps determine whether the breach of duty was a necessary factor in causing the harm. Imagine a nurse fails to administer a prescribed medication to a patient. The patient's condition worsens as a result. Here, the nurse's omission was a foreseeable cause of the patient's deterioration, and without that failure, the injury would not have occurred. Understanding foreseeability and proximate cause is essential for healthcare professionals to ensure they uphold their duty of care, prevent harm, and protect both patients and themselves from legal liabilities. Thank you for tuning in. Stay informed and committed to excellence in all your healthcare practices. Now we are delving into real-world examples of negligence in healthcare, focusing on patient faults and diagnostic errors. Understanding these cases is crucial for healthcare professionals to uphold the highest standards of care and prevent legal repercussions. Let's start with the tragic case of Facey versus Merkel. In this case, Mr. Facey, a 79-year-old resident, suffered fatal injuries from a fall down a stairway in a rest home. After being transferred from a hospital following a cataract operation, Mr. Facey was placed in a room adjacent to a stairway. Despite the administrators being informed of the potential danger, they failed to install a gate and adequately supervise him. One day, while cleaning his soiled slippers, Mrs. Merkel allowed Mr. Facey to go upstairs, leading to his fatal fall. The court found that the proximity of Mr. Facey's room to the stairs and the lack of proper safety measures were proximate causes of his injury. This case underscores the importance of adhering to safety protocols and adequately addressing known risks to prevent harm to residents. Next, let's discuss Dick v. Brooklyn Hospital Center, which highlights negligence in diagnostic procedures. In this case, the plaintiff alleged that a radiologist negligently misread a CT scan, leading to a delayed diagnosis of a serious condition. Although the specifics of this case are complex, the core issue revolves around the failure to accurately interpret medical imaging, which is a critical component of patient diagnosis and treatment planning. The court emphasized that healthcare professionals must maintain a high standard of accuracy in their interpretations. A negligent misreading can result in significant harm, including delayed treatment, worsening of conditions, and even loss of life. This case illustrates the vital role of precision and diligence in diagnostic practices to ensure patient safety and effective healthcare delivery. These examples, Facey v. Merkel and Dick v. Brooklyn Hospital Center, highlight different facets of negligence in healthcare. Whether it's failing to prevent a patient fall or misreading diagnostic tests, the consequences of negligence are severe, impacting both patients and healthcare providers. Understanding these cases helps healthcare professionals recognize the importance of maintaining rigorous standards, implementing preventive measures, and ensuring accurate and timely diagnosis. By doing so, we can protect our patients, uphold ethical standards, and minimize legal risks. In this slide, we're exploring a fundamental concept in negligence law: foreseeability. Foreseeability involves the reasonable anticipation that harm or injury is likely to result from an act or an omission to act. It's a crucial element in determining negligence because it helps establish whether the defendant should have anticipated the potential consequences of their actions. The test for foreseeability asks whether a person of ordinary prudence and intelligence should have anticipated danger to others caused by their negligent act. In other words, would a reasonable person in the defendant's position have foreseen the risk of harm? Let's look at an example from the case, Hans versus Hoffman. In this medical malpractice action, the plaintiff alleged that the defendant physician was negligent in prescribing a medication that caused an allergic reaction. However, the trial court ruled in favor of the defendant because the plaintiff had failed to disclose her history of allergies. During the physical examination, the plaintiff denied having any allergies, and the physician had no reason to suspect otherwise. The court found that the plaintiff's failure to provide crucial information meant that the physician could not have reasonably anticipated the allergic reaction, thus negating foreseeability. This case highlights how foreseeability is essential in establishing negligence. If harm was not reasonably anticipated, the defendant may not be held liable, even if their actions were technically negligent. Understanding foreseeability helps healthcare professionals recognize potential risks and take proactive measures to prevent harm, ensuring patient safety and maintaining high ethical standards. We're wrapping up our discussion on negligence in tort law by emphasizing a crucial takeaway. The four elements of negligence must be presented in order for the plaintiff to recover damages caused by negligence. To briefly recap, these four elements are duty of care, establishing that the defendant owed a legal obligation to the plaintiff; breach of duty, demonstrating that the defendant failed to meet that obligation; causation, linking the breach directly to the injury sustained; damages, showing that actual harm or injury resulted from the breach. In our discussions, we explored how each element plays a vital role in determining liability. Without establishing all four elements, a plaintiff cannot successfully claim damages for negligence. This framework ensures that only those cases with clear evidence of wrongdoing and resultant harm are upheld in court, thereby maintaining fairness and accountability within the legal system. Understanding these elements is fundamental for healthcare professionals, managers, and legal practitioners alike. It not only helps in identifying and preventing negligence, but also in fostering a culture of responsibility and ethical practice in healthcare settings. As we conclude this module, I encourage you all to apply these principles diligently in your professional lives to protect patient safety and uphold the integrity of our healthcare system. Thank you for joining us throughout this journey. Stay informed, stay ethical, and continue striving for excellence in all your healthcare endeavors. Until next time, take care.